And joining us this morning is Ronn Astillas, chairperson of the Philippine LGBT Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, Ron, and welcome to Morning Matters.
Hi, good morning. Good morning to all the viewers and listeners of Morning Matters, Pauline.
Okay, so let's discuss first this latest ruling of the Supreme Court. How significant is that for the LGBT plus community? Would you call this a breakthrough moment?
Definitely, this is a big step, a breakthrough moment for the LGBT community, considering that for the longest time, we really don't know where we stand when it comes to recognizing family as a unit in the country. And now, because of the Supreme Court ruling, we understand that any LGBT couples can definitely fall under that, classification. And in this particular case, we're talking about co-ownership of assets, properties, etc. But I think the bigger win here is that ultimately we see the different forms, different faces of families in the country.
But Ron, from your experience at the LGBT Chamber of Commerce, how common are property disputes among same-sex couples?
Honestly, we don't have data at the moment, but we'd like to think that traditionally, what happens is that assets or the properties are actually entitled or given to a particular partner only because they cannot, register. So what's happening in the business sector, us in the Philippine LGBT Chamber, is that couples, LGBT couples, lesbian, gay couples, they set up a business and then they have stake in that business, and then that becomes a platform to assure rather the co-sharing or the co-ownership of these assets. So that's at the business side. But this time around, what we've seen with the Supreme Court ruling is that you can even go beyond that, and in normal personal family matters, co-ownership exists. So I think that's a good option for us as well, or at least, in this case, a recognition for the LGBT community's contribution in building homes and creating their own families. So I don't think it should be a less of a hindrance, or rather a hindrance for most of us. But I think it should be a step forward by recognizing the equal rights of LGBT people, not just in business, but also in day-to-day living.
Okay, but the court here emphasized the need for proof of actual contribution, and that's an important caveat because in real life, couples don't really, let's say, keep formal documents, right? Receipts. They don't have all these written acknowledgments, maybe because it's taboo to discuss that. But what should couples now do differently following this ruling?
I think, in a loving, embracing relationship, I think it's important to recognize through documents, through continuous, receipts. If you're paying amortization, if you're paying if you're the ones who provided the collateral and all, to document these things now, or at the same time, make sure that at certain points of your loving relationship, you manifest that relationship or that recognition that the other partner has been contributing to the building of physical homes, of physical assets, or whatever it is between the two of you throughout that relationship. So it's also a wake-up call because, when you talk about love, especially now, it's February, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. We express love in a non-physical way. We express love in varying forms and degrees. But this time, I think it will be wiser to make sure that when you are in a loving relationship, you also provide the actual documents and receipts. But Pauline, I think that's also the concern. What we really want at an equal level is the presumption of co-ownership. In heterosexual relationships, you get married. Definitely, when you see when you're married or you're in that relationship, even if you don't prefer to have the union together, you always get that co-ownership treatment. But this ruling
conjugal.
only provides us the proof points that you have to ensure that there are documents, there are proof points that we're really contributing to the asset. So we're not yet there, but hopefully we will be receiving that presumption of co-ownership later on. That's why I think it's important to continue or start the discussion about legal or civil union. We're not talking about marriage in the religious way. We're talking about union in a civil, state recognized manner.
But as far as the LGBT Chamber of Commerce is concerned, do you still have any questions when it comes to this ruling? Are there any nuances still? Like, let's say, if the contributions aren't equal, or if one partner paid for the mortgage but the other paid for the renovations. Is that clear already, or do you still have any questions when it comes to that?
The general principle is quite clear. You know, you
Okay.
just have to prove that you've contributed to the asset building. That's why we're anticipating, or we're looking forward to cases being filed, or how this will be practiced by the courts. I mean, we'll leave it to the courts to decide how the division will be, but at least at the principal level, we understand that we are now recognized that regardless of the legal, acrobatics that have happened in the past, now you can simply say that I've contributed to this and these are my receipts. I've contributed to the amortization and these are my receipts. So we're okay with this. We're okay with this as a big step forward towards equality. But as we said in our statement, there are more to be done. And I think this manifests the ambition of the LGBT community to look or ask the government and other state players to be our partners, because we ourselves are contributing to economic growth. We
Right.
ourselves are owners of our companies, providing livelihood, employment to people. So don't see us as, again, roadblocks towards national development, but instead look at us as partners in improving the lives of the entire country. And by doing this, or by having this mindset, we ask for more equal treatment across the board.
But following this ruling, Ron, are you now more optimistic that this is a sign that the Supreme Court, the High Court, is now catching up with social realities, recognizing that same-sex couples are just like everyone else, building assets together, building lives together?
Definitely, the opinion of Justice Leonen said, this is our law should be mature enough to recognize the complexities of relationships. It's 2026 now, and the vision, or the shape, the I guess the unit of family has actually changed, or has actually been diversified. We're not just looking at the traditional household here. We're talking about families built by LGBT couples, families built by, for example, a grandson taking care of his or her grandparents. We're also talking about fur parents, for example. And I guess that's what he mentioned when he talked about complexities of relationships, of intimacies at this point.
And his statements were really powerful in saying that same-sex relationships are normal and shouldn't be legally invisible. But Ron, do you see this ruling eventually influencing other areas down the line, let's say in terms of inheritance rights, hospital decision-making, and even adoption among same-sex couples?
We hope so. We hope to keep the momentum. We hope to push forward. We hope that right to care, for example, will be implemented in some LGUs. They're already implemented in Quezon City, in particular. We hope to also have the rights experienced by majority of the Filipinos in the country at this point, because we again are also contributors to economic growth. We are your partners. We are taxpayers. So I don't think there's a difference. It's time. It's time to keep this momentum. In fact, we want this to be accelerated to ensure that we just keep on progressively moving forward, and no one should be left behind.
But the court also made it clear, right, Ron, that it can only go so far without legislation. In your opinion, why do you think legislation recognizing same-sex partnerships has remained stalled for so long? What would you say are the biggest hurdles?
A few things, but I think it's more of the lack of understanding of why it's important to have civil recognition applied across the board, as we say. You have the younger generation now who are more open. they continuously accept gender identities in that very diverse way, and we're hopeful of that. We're optimistic that the younger generation will help us carry through this realization or this vision of a community that's equal for all. So I think that's what's missing: the lack of education, the lack of dialogue, and for the longest time, for example, in Congress, the equality bill has been there for 26 years now. I think we're like the Guinness Book World Record holder for such a long bill that has not been passed by the Senate and the lower house. So I think that as we move forward, we really need to highlight the little wins to hopefully become bigger victories for the community.
Okay, so hypothetically speaking, let's say Congress were to prioritize one reform today or tomorrow. Where should they start? What do you think is the most urgent concern right now or need for the LGBT community?
What we've always been saying: protection, regardless of your sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, or SOGI. The Equality Bill is a priority measure. We've been telling that in the private sector, the big companies. We keep on sharing the same message that if you love your employees, if you love your people working for you, building your companies, us, because we're a chamber, we tell them that please help us lobby, help us push for the Equality Bill, because we want a safer environment for every LGBT individuals out there. We want better access or equal access to education, to health services, to public goods and services. And in that sense, regardless of our identities, we believe that a society that provides these equal access to all individuals is a Philippines that we dream of, a Philippines that we will definitely realize in the coming years. So we challenge the Congress, the both houses, to make sure that the national law protecting individuals such as us in the community of LGBT people will definitely be given that national protection through the Equality Bill.
And for the business sector, what are some of your ideas on how we can make this whole community and business environment more inclusive for the LGBT community?
Low-hanging fruits for us, please establish an LGBT enterprise fund. That's very easy. The government has money. We want economic activities, and we believe that the government has done that for women-led enterprises. So that's why we're saying let's diversify that. Let's also establish an LGBTQI plus enterprise fund, because as startups, as small, micro, medium enterprises, we believe that state assistance when it comes to access to finance will be beneficial, because it has a trickle-down effect, multiplier effect on employment, on livelihood. So that's one priority ask that we have been talking about now. And also, we request the incentivization of queer MSMEs, any queer-led, LGBT-led businesses. We believe that if you really want to help us and grow our businesses, and for us to go into your local areas, especially for the local government executives, please establish that enabling environment that will protect us, that will promote us, and will make sure that it's a safe space to do business wherever we are in the Philippines. So incentivization of MSME queer businesses is another policy that we're pushing. Also, we believe that trainings, facilities, workshops, capacity sessions from government should be free and accessible anytime. So we're also reaching out to government to provide these capacity initiatives so that our businesses grow. When businesses grow, when LGBT enterprises grow, everyone wins in the process.
Okay, and finally, Ron, well, following this ruling of the Supreme Court, which you described as groundbreaking and significant, how do you think we can ride on this momentum? Because at the end of the day, the fight is still largely uphill. So what can the public do? How can we continue to support the rights of same-sex couples?
Leadership, that's one thing. I believe that the public should ask our leaders, make them accountable to how rights are equally applied across communities, across population in the country. So that's one thing. We need to continuously ask our leaders, what's your agenda for marginalized groups such as the LGBT people? And that's one thing. Second, we also want to make sure that individuals contribute to the development of safer space, be it in schools, be it in your own business, be it in corporations or government agencies. Please make sure that you are providing or establishing safe spaces for everybody, women, youth, people with disabilities, and of course the LGBT plus people. So by having these conversations, I think we're getting towards the right direction, moving towards a vision that hopefully will be realized in our lifetimes. We're always optimistic. We see this as a glass half full, but there's more work to be done, and we are here as partners.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time and for sharing all your insights with us this morning. That was Ronn Astillas, Chairperson of the Philippine LGBT Chamber of Commerce. Thanks, Ron.